What would it feel like to go through your days with greater peace of mind, more balance, and a real sense of fulfillment? Pretty great, right? Well, you can achieve it, but there is a catch. Because the reality is that better mental health doesn't just happen by accident. It takes effort, intention, commitment, and a willingness to make small but meaningful changes. And if you do that, then over the course of a year, you are going to see some massive improvements in all areas of your life. But the challenge can be knowing where to start. And that's what this episode is all about. Let's start with be clear about your priorities. Knowing what matters most to you helps focus your time and energy more effectively. After all, there are only so many hours in the day. Plus, you need to have a really clear understanding of where your energy should be going because there are plenty of unimportant things to distract you. Start by identifying your top priorities, whether it's your health, relationships, personal growth, etc., and reflect on how your daily choices align with them. In other words, are you giving enough time to the stuff that matters? If not, then you need to change that. When you're faced with decisions, ask yourself, does this support what's most important to me? Let your priorities guide you and don't be afraid to say no to distractions or unhealthy choices. Okay, next, make your needs your number one priority. Your well-being matters, and prioritizing your needs isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. Take time to understand what you truly need to feel balanced, healthy, and fulfilled. Whether that's rest, connection, personal space, whatever. By putting your needs first, you're better able to show up for others, and you can handle life's challenges with a lot more resilience and calm. Next, practice gratitude daily. Take a few moments at the start of each day to reflect on at least 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right, and that promotes a much more positive mindset. Remember that whether you look for the positive or the negative, you tend to find more of what you're focused on. You can reinforce the habit of noticing the things you're grateful for by writing them down or saying them out loud. I have a note on my phone that I add to each morning at the same time as doing some intention setting and going through some positive affirmations, and it's a really grounding way to start the day. Okay, next, limit your social media. Look, social media can be a great tool for connecting with others and for finding inspiration, but it can also be overwhelming and negatively impact your mood, especially thanks to some of the absolutely toxic rubbish that some people post. Set healthy boundaries for yourself to manage your usage, like limiting your time on certain apps or taking a day off each week, and use that time instead to engage in real-life activities that energize you. There's nothing wrong with healthy usage, but it's the unhealthy stuff that impacts your mental health, as well as spending a huge amount of time on there. Instead of reaching for your phone all the time, choose to look around and be present, or go spend some time in nature and be present. Never forget that social media is not real life, so make sure you're prioritizing real life. Next, choose your news carefully, because the news you consume impacts your mental health much more than you might realize. Constant exposure to negativity can leave you feeling drained or anxious, so be intentional about what you watch, read, or listen to. Limit your news intake to reliable sources and set boundaries, like avoiding it first thing in the morning or before bed to protect your peace of mind. Find even more tips in episode 263A of my podcast, Let's Talk About Mental Health. It's linked in the episode description. And check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll like. Plus, subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for joining me and talk to you next time.